talk about the signs of the hour, sometimes we may think that this is luxurious, something accessory, something not essential, because in most of the cases it deals with storytelling. So people come not to learn, but rather to be entertained. They come to listen to stories and probably myths and things of the past or of the future. That is entertaining. First of all, when we talk about the signs of the hour, this is an essential part of our religion. How is that? We know that the Prophet told us ﷺ that in the hadith of Umar ibn al-Khattab, also known as the hadith of Jibreel, peace be upon him, when a man came to the Masjid, white clothes, black hair, no signs of traveling, and no one among us knows him. So if he did not travel, he doesn't seem like a traveler, and no one knows him. He wasn't staying in any of our houses, which means that they don't have any hotels. Then who is he? And you know the story, huh? What is Islam? What is Iman? What is Ihsan? When is the hour? What are the signs? So number 2, Iman. 6 pillars of Iman. أن تؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر. Part of believing in the Day of Judgment is to believe in anything that is related to it, such as the signs of the Day of Judgment, the Day of Judgment itself, the resurrection, the accountability and hisab, the hell, heaven, everything that goes with it is included in the belief of the Day of Judgment, which is a must for you to learn, because this is part of the 6 pillars of Iman. Unfortunately, people just know how to pray, barely. But when it comes to details of the Day of Judgment, they are quite doubtful about it. If you ask them about the scale that has a tongue and 2 eyes and weighs your deeds, never heard of that. If you ask them about the path, which is as sharper than a blade, thinner than a hair, and all of humanity pass on it, believers and hypocrites. The disbelievers don't pass on the Sirat. They are taken from day 1 to hell. But only the believers and the hypocrites who claim to be Muslims pass on it. People don't know. So this is part 1. Part 2, when you come to the signs in the hadith of Jibreel, he asked, when is the hour? The Prophet said, Mal mas'ul, the one who's being asked, is not more knowledgeable than the person asking me. Yani, our knowledge is nil. Then he asked about the signs of the Day of Judgment. And the Prophet told him 1, 2, 3. When he departed, what did the Prophet ﷺ say to Umar? And listen carefully. He said, Umar, do you know who that man was? The Prophet said, Umar said, may Allah be pleased with him, Allahu wa Rasuluhu a'lam. I don't know. The Prophet said it was what? Jibreel.
He was here to teach you your deen.
Teaching you your religion. What was he teaching us? Islam, Iman, Ihsan. When is the day of judgment or the hour? And the signs. This hadith clearly explains to us that studying the signs of the hour is part of your religion. So don't come and tell me that this is storytelling. Yes, there are people who made this a business. And all what they do in their lectures is storytelling. And they put spices, salt, pepper, halal. But when the people got used to these spices, they started using nutmeg. Now, this is going a little bit extra. And using ingredients that are haram, because they want people to buy from them what they're selling. What are the benefits of believing in the Day of Judgment? Why is it so important that it is part of the 6 pillars of Iman? When you believe in the Day of Judgment, when you believe that there is a day of reckoning, and Allah Azza wa Jal would hold you accountable for your actions, when you fear punishment and you are wishful and hopeful for the reward of Allah Azza wa Jal, when your eyes at the scales on the Day of Judgment, not on the scales of this dunya. In this dunya, I evaluate you according to your wealth, your position in your company, about those who you know, but these are nothing in the scales of Allah Azza wa Jal. So once I have this in balance, then all what will result from it is goodness. Because all your affairs will be to the good and to the benefit of yourself and for humanity. Not only for humanity, even for animals. When you believe in the Day of Judgment, you will benefit even the animals. Umar ibn Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, he said, if a mule were to trip and fall in Iraq, he's in Medina, I would be afraid that Allah would hold me accountable for it. So he fears the Day of Judgment over the welfare of a mule. The roads were not paved enough or not paved well. And this shows you that a believer who has a strong belief in the Day of Judgment, he would fix all of his affairs according to what pleases Allah. Unlike those who are atheists, those who are disbelievers of the Day of Judgment, reincarnation. We die, if we were good, we will become humans. If we were bad, we will become a fish. And then finding Nemo. What is this? Allah, he was a bad man in the previous life. This is what a lot of those Hindus and atheists, they believe in reincarnation. They die and they come into a different life form. That's why this is all what they care about, this dunya, this moment we're in. Let's make the best of it. Let's do everything we wish to do. The consequences are not important. We die, khalas, it's over, game over. Muslims don't think of this. We die, the game begins. Either heaven forever or hell forever. This is why we work hard to achieve what pleases Allah Azza wa Jal. Now, this is just an introduction and something to open our eyes before going into this important topic. Now, the signs of the hour were mentioned in the Quran, generally speaking. Allah Azza wa Jal says, do they then wait anything other than the hour, that it should come upon them suddenly? But some of its signs have already come. So Allah is mentioning the hour in the Quran, and Allah Azza wa Jal is mentioning that some of the signs had already come, which means that there are much more to come. Among the signs that took place, Allah mentioned the hour has drawn nearer and the moon has been cleft asunder, split. And we will come to talk about this briefly, inshallah. Now, in the Sunnah, as mentioned earlier, hadith of Umar and Jibreel, This clearly shows that the Prophet told us about some of the signs. Yet, there are so many signs of the hour that you can compile a very big book. And there are a number of books. Among the best books you can buy, I believe they are translated into English, the collection of Dr. Umar ibn Sulaiman al-Ashqar, may Allah have mercy on his soul, who died on the 27th of Ramadan, one of the great scholars of Islam. I think he was residing in Kuwait, if I'm not mistaken. He has a great collection that is highly trustable, authentic, and the hadiths are all according to Sheikh Al-Albani. So it's very reliable to depend upon, and others. And when you study the signs of the hours, you are comforted by this science. Why? Because we see so many calamities around us. We see that the Muslims are being slaughtered not only on Eid al-Adha, but throughout the whole year. They're slaughtering them, they're brutally attacking them, abusing them. And you tend to think, we are the best nation that Allah has given to the world. Why is this happening? When you read the signs of the hour, when you read the prophecies of the Prophet ﷺ telling us that this would happen, you rest assured that this is the truth that we believe in. Not to sit back and relax, but rather to move forward, be positive, and try to change whatever is possible to change. I've selected few of so many that are backed by authentic hadiths. So all what you will hear in today's workshop and in tomorrow's workshop, inshallah, are all 100% authenticated by Sheikh Al-Albani or those before him like Bukhari, Muslim, etc. So it's nothing that is a bit shady or let me check the authenticity. Feel free. You want to check the authenticity, this is best, because we have a saying in Arabic, don't give your beard to someone to hold it for you. If someone holds your beard, he'll drag you like a goat. He'll control you. So don't let anyone control you. Depend on your knowledge after asking Allah Azza wa Jalla for guidance. Look and see. But for those who are lazy like myself, I'll tell you that these are all authentic, inshallah. So when we want to look and study the signs of the hour, we will find that they're divided into two types: major and minor. The major are 10, and I'll postpone them to tomorrow's workshop, inshallah. The minor are so many, but these minor are also divided. Some took place and are over with. Some did not take place yet. Some are frequent, taking place over and over again. So among the signs that had taken place, some consider it to be major, but the most authentic is that it is a minor sign, which is the death of our Prophet ﷺ. Is this a minor sign? Scholars say it's the most major sign, but it is not a sign of the Day of Judgment. We're depressed by it. We are saddened that we did not get the chance to see our beloved Prophet ﷺ. But is it a major sign of the Day of Judgment? The Prophet said ﷺ, I was sent and the hour like these. Now one would say this was 15 centuries ago. So what is this? What is the hour? There's still much to come, because this distance between these two fingers are equivalent to the length of humanity on earth. So whether it is couple of million years, less, more, which shows you that the remaining is still far to come, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows when it is going to come. One asks, when is the hour, Sheikh? The answer would be, what do you care? Seriously. Okay, when is the Dajjal coming? What do you care? He says, I would like to be ready. Akhi, your day of judgment, your hour is when you die. So whether you see all of these signs or you don't, it doesn't matter. The moment you die, this is your hour. So are you ready? He said, not yet. Then there's no use of it. So we go into the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He said to one of his companions, count 6 signs before the day of judgment. Among them is my death. So the Prophet is telling us, this is one of the signs. It happened, the Prophet is dead. Do we have to go to the concept of some of the deviant sects that the Prophet ﷺ is Hazir, Nazir, and he's alive and he's with us? We don't have to go this, because you're all Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. You're not, inshallah, sharing the deviant belief in the Prophet. Is the Prophet alive in his grave? One says yes, one says no. Well, I don't know. Do we have to go there? Is he alive? No, he's alive. He's alive. Is my father alive? My father died 45 years ago. He is alive in his grave. But is his life similar to mine? No. If he was alive like me, I will open his grave and take him out. Let him live again with us. His life is the barzakh, which is a stage between this dunya and the hereafter. This is where all the dead live. The way they live, it's to Allah Azza wa Jal. They do not eat, drink, go to the toilet, get married like us. But they're alive in their sense. We see their corpses, we may see the remains of their bodies or not, but they're alive. A life that is not similar to our world. They do not come to us in our dreams. They do not whisper they do not watch over us like in the movies. He's watching over you, he'll be happy with you. No, they're dead. Khalas. The connection with this world is over. Tayyib. I hope we move on to the signs so that we can finish, because this is about about 54 pages, the workshop of today and tomorrow. And I very much doubt that if we take, though it's very important, okay, I can list it to you and finish. But I believe that standing for a pause with each one and commenting on it is far greater than just listing it. We need to get a reminder. I need to get a reminder. I don't care about you. I need to remind myself every now and then. So let us, inshallah, progress. One of the signs that took place and will never come back again is the fire of Hijaz. What is this? The Prophet ﷺ told us that there will come a fire in Hijaz, meaning in Medina area, that from the light of this fire, the camel necks, the necks of camels in Asham, in Busra, it's a town in Syria, will be lit, and people will see the traces of the fire. Imagine the distance. Now this incident was extensively written about. It took place in the year 654 Hijrah, meaning in the 7th century Hijri. So this took place 600 plus years after the death of the Prophet ﷺ. And who wrote about it? Trustworthy scholars such as Al-Imam Al-Nawawi. because Imam al-Nawawi was a contemporary of that era and time. And Ibn Kathir wrote it, reporting on Abi Shamah al-Maqdisi. And so many historians wrote about this great fire. One would say, what's so important about fire? We have fires, we have blazes, we go to America, in California, in Miami, and so many fires are taking place. What's so special? What is special is that this fire lasted for 52 days. The second duration, they said it lasted for 3 months. What was it? It started in 3 days. Little earthquakes. People did not feel it so clear. Second day, the trembling in Medina shook the Masjid of the Prophet ﷺ until the ceiling squeaked and made noises. The third day, more than 18 shocks. Everybody was terrified. The whole Medina was trembling. Everybody ran and rushed to the Masjid of the Prophet ﷺ. Anything would happen, it wouldn't happen in the Masjid. The ruler of Medina came to the Masjid, started praying, freed all his slaves, returned all the wealth he took unlawfully from people, repented to Allah Azza wa Jal. He uplifted the taxations he used to take from the people, the VAT, the income tax, all these 9 yards, and repented and asked Allah Azza wa Jal. But the fire came from the east towards Medina and then went north. What was this fire? It was like volcanic lava, but it was so intense in light that they saw it in Mecca, they saw it in Taymah, they saw it in Tabuk, and the light of the sun and the moon faded because of the strength of this light. The funny thing is, this flow and river of lava consumed everything in its face, on its way. Mountains, trees, rocks, it all melted. Yet no one was harmed from it. And beautiful cold breeze kept on coming to the people of Medina. This is scary. It's like when you see a volcano coming to you, but you don't feel the heat. Yet you can see the light, everyone was terrified, scared, repented to Allah Azza wa Jal. Now, I wish I had more time. I would have brought you pictures from these places in Medina, in the Harra, in the cracks on the ground where scholars have documented this today, saying that this is the path of the fire and how it came. But we would have required 3-4 more days just to explain and elaborate on this. So this is one of the signs that took place and is over with, and it is documented. No one can claim otherwise. One of the signs that took place, unfortunately, is that jizya and kharaj are not given to the Muslims anymore. What is jizya? Jizya is mentioned in Surah At-Tawbah, chapter 9, where Allah orders us to fight the Jews and the Christians until they pay us the jizya, the taxation. And this taxation, by the way, is less than the zakat we Muslims pay. Now, human rights, blah, blah, blah. This is for the benefit of the Jews and the Christians living on Muslim soil. Imagine, the Christians come and complain, oh, you do this, you do that, you segregate between the religions, you consider a second class. Listen, I pay 2.5% of my savings. I pay 2.5% of my trade. They pay 2.5% of their gold, jewelries, etc. and the crops that we grow, the cattle that we raise. You guys, how much do you pay? A very fixed minimal amount per year. Only on the working men. Women don't pay, old men don't pay, children don't pay. Only working men pay. And in return of what? That you live safe and sound in your countries that is ruled by Islam, or in our soil. And if any enemy army would come and invade or try to fight, you guys do not fight. It is our responsibility to fight and defend you. So after all, you call this taxation? This is peanuts. So this was the case until the Muslims went so way down in their lack of commitment to Islam that now no Jews, no Christians, no other religions pay the jizya. And this is exactly what the Prophet ﷺ prophesied. The Prophet said in the hadith of Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, the Prophet said, Iraq would withhold its dirhams and qafiz. Qafiz is a measurement of size. So now Iraq was Muslim at the time of the Prophet ﷺ? No, that's a prophecy in a prophecy. So Iraq would withhold its dirhams and qafiz. Syria would withhold its mud and dinar. Again, a prophecy. Syria was not. Egypt would withhold its irdib and dinar, and you would recoil to that position from where you started, and you would recoil to that position from where you started, and you would recoil to that position where you or from where you started. What does this mean? The Prophet is telling us Egypt, Iraq, Syria will all come under Islam. There will be Christians and non-Muslims. They will give the jizya, but there will come a time when it will stop. Either because it's all Muslim, alhamdulillah, or either because of the empowerment of the non-Muslims over the Muslims. So this is page 4. Alhamdulillah, we're on the way. We have still 50 to go. Now, moving on to the signs that took place and are continuous to take place and possible to take place more in the future. First of all, there was a plague in a town called Imwas in Syria. The Prophet ﷺ, among the 6 he told us to count before the day of judgment, among them is his death. He said 2 deaths, 2 plagues, 2 pandemics that will spread in you like a disease that spreads in a herd of sheep. There is, for those who graze sheep, they know that there is some disease. When it hits, it kills everybody. So the Prophet is warning us of 2 of them. One of them is the one of Imwas. Imwas took place on the 8th year of Hijrah. They say, some said that it is a little bit later, which means that the companions were there. And 25,000 people died. With the calculation and the population of the people at that time, this is a lot. And among those who died because of this plague, Abu Ubaidah Amir ibn al-Jarrah, one of the 10 heaven-bound, whom Umar ibn Khattab said, if Abu Ubaidah were alive, I would have appointed him to be the Khalifa. He said this after being stabbed, and then they appointed, as you know, Othman ibn Affan, may Allah be pleased with them more. And also among those who died is the scholar of the companions, Mu'adh ibn Jabal. They all died in this plague. that the Prophet warned us from took place in the past, there is a possibility of it taking place in the future. Now, among the signs that the Prophet told us about is the glad tidings of the conquest of Muslims to other countries, the victory of Muslims over other countries and nations. And this was a little bit tricky. We know that the Arabs were the worst of all people in terms of strength and power. The Prophet came, alayhi salatu wasalam, migrated to Medina. In 10 years, he managed to conquer Mecca, Medina, and some areas around it. But in the few decades afterwards, the expansion of the Muslims was astonishing. So when the Prophet says, alayhi salatu wasalam, in Sahih al-Imam Muslim, he said, you will invade the Arabian Peninsula and Allah will open it for you. Then, he's addressing the Arabs, you will invade Persia, the greatest empire, and Allah will open it for you. Then you will invade Rome, the Byzantines, the Romans, and Allah will open it for you. And then you will conquer and invade the Dajjal himself, and Allah will make you prevail upon him. Now, if I tell you this nowadays, you will, inshallah, conquer the Christians, Europe and America, and you will go to Russia, and you will go to the Kremlin, and inshallah make iftar on the Caesar's table, and you will, what will you say? Sheikh, excuse me, but there's something wrong. We don't have tomahawks, we don't have F-15, 16, 17, 18, I don't know where they've reached now. We don't have anything. The Muslims are so poor. This is true. But when the Prophet said it, alayhi salatu wasalam, what did the companions do? They believed in it 110%. They acted upon it because this is from Allah. This is revelation. And in few years, it happened. Where is Persia now? The Byzantines, you know where they were? They were in Jerusalem, Al-Quds, Syria, Jordan. When the Prophet pointed out to us the miqat of Ihram, he pointed that for the people of Syria, there is Al-Juhfa, which is called now Rabi'. For the people of Iraq, there is so and so. For the people of Yemen, who were not Muslims, there is Yalamlam of Saudiya, there is so. And the companions were looking at each other, not in disbelief, said, in astonishment, said, wow, all of these areas will become Muslim, and they become. So this is not from, what's his name, Nostradamus, this or something. This is not from, this is all facts. And this is why my time, you put the 5th gear in your car and cruise. Now they have 6th gear, 7th gear, new cars, mashallah, they have so many gears. You don't have to doubt a bit. In Islam, you have 110 confidence. Everything is, the Prophet said, is what? Is reality, true, you can see it. And the kuffar are helpless. We want to cast doubt in the religion of Islam. The Muslims are not leaving us anywhere to doubt. Everything is false proof, alhamdulillah. So the Prophet is giving us glad tidings. Now, this glad tidings is also cascaded when the Prophet told us that we will invade India. The brothers from India, please do not be offended. We're Muslims before we're Indians. The Prophet told us, alayhi salatu wassalam, there will be 2 groups of my ummah whom Allah will protect from hellfire. A group who will conquer India, and a group who will be with Isa ibn Maryam. This is glad tidings from the Prophet to those who conquer India. Now, let's come back to India. Has Islam conquered India? The answer is yes, twice. Once in the time of Muawiyah, may Allah be pleased with him. Ibn Kathir says the Muslims invaded or conquered India in the times of Muawiyah in the year 44 Hijrah. So after Abu Bakr, Umar, Othman, Ali came Muawiyah, the fifth ruler in Islam. In his time, they conquered India. Ibn Kathir goes on to say, and the honorable great king Mahmud ibn Sabkatikin, the man of Ghuzna, he invaded India in the year 400 Hijrah. So this is the 5th century of Hijrah. We are in the 15th, 10 centuries ago. And he went in, he took prisoners, he took slaves, and he managed to gather a lot of wealth, and he entered a Sumnat. I don't know what that, temples maybe, I have no idea about this. And he broke the biggest idol that they used to worship. He took the swords that they used to sacrifice and offer, and he went back safe and sound. Now, the Prophet told us that there will come a third conquest, but they are blessed. When it's going to be, Allah knows. There are so many fabricated hadiths, weak hadiths that support this and put some spices and nutmeg. And we have spoken about this, so we will not go into it because this is not important to us. Not only that, the Prophet ﷺ gave us the glad tiding of conquering Constantinople, known as Constantinople, and this was the capital of the Byzantine Empire of the East. It was conquered once and it will be conquered again. So some scholars say that this is in reference to Istanbul. This Constantinople is Istanbul. Istanbul now is what?
Turkey.
Turkey. It's all Muslim. It's under Muslim rule. There will come a time that it will be overtaken by the Christians. So if you have investments there, maybe you should reconsider changing your portfolio. The Prophet says, alayhi salatu wasalam, and this hadith is authentic. The Prophet said to them, it's in Arabic, so I'm going to translate it to you. Have you heard of a city? Part of it is on land and part is in the sea? So the companion said, yes. He's referring to this city. The Prophet said that the hour would not be cold until 70,000 of the sons of Isaac, Ishaq. This is in reference to the Christians and the Jews, because the Muslims are the sons of Ismail. So this is a clear indication that there will be an invasion and there will be war. The 70,000, scholars say that this number is, in Arabic language, in my language, it's used as an exaggeration. So whenever I want to tell you something, oh, I have been to that place a gazillion times. What is a gazillion times, Sheikh? Meaning countless of times. And this is why when the Prophet says, 70,000 of my ummah will enter Jannah without reckoning. Scholars say 70,000s are not mentioned so that 70,001 is not, or 70,000 minus 1. No, this is a sign of exaggeration. And this is why in another hadith, the Prophet says, with each one of them, a 70,000. Wow. This is like having 1,749, yani 4,900,000,000. It's a lot of, and this is not sought after. It's not meant as a literal meaning. So a great number of Jews and Christians, mainly Christians, will invade it. So when they go there, there will happen a war. Now the hadith is clear. Some of the scholars said, wait. 70,000 of the sons of Isaac are Muslims. Oh, meaning that they are reverts. And they will invade Constantinople. And they will invade it in a fashion that is unlike our conventional war. The Prophet says, alayhi salatu, when they come, they will set their camps. They will not fight. They will not throw any arrows. They will say, La ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. These 70,000 would only say, La ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. The Prophet says, one of the sides will fall into the sea of the city. And then they will say for the second time, La ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. The second side would fall into the sea. And the third time, they say, La ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Allah Azza wa Jal would open the gates and they will invade it without any problem, without any fighting, without any killing. What kind of iman do they possess that Allah opens a whole city for these people by just saying La ilaha illallah wallahu akbar? When you tell people do dua, say, what is dua? They have weapons, they have machine guns, they have bombs. This is dua. La ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. The Prophet says, alayhi salatu wasalam, they enter the city, they are collecting the booty of wars and the treasures and so on. And while they're doing this, they hear someone shouting that the Dajjal has appeared. So they leave everything and they go trying to find the Dajjal and fight him off. They are warriors. They are army of real, true, believing Muslims. But then they are faced with the Christians, the Rum, who say to the Muslims, because they are mixed Muslims and the 70,000 of the sons of Ishaq. So the Christians say, leave us to fight with our brothers, those who reverts. Leave us fight with them. The real true Muslims, born Muslims, they would say, of course, this is not accepted. These are our brothers and we will never leave you to fight them alone. We live together or we die together. This is the bond of Islam. Nowadays, people who say, Akhi, please, locals here, expats here, you go fight. There is nothing like this in Islam. There's no expats in Islam. You say La ilaha illallah, you come and lead the prayer. Ya akhi, but I'm a Saudi. I'm from Mecca and Medina. I'm the one who's supposed to lead. No. If he recites Quran better, if he's knowledgeable, he's to be respected more. Nationalities are a document. Tear it and throw it away. But Islam is a conviction and belief. So the Prophet says, alayhi salatu wasalam, they refuse. And they decide to fight alongside with the reverts brothers. So they fight. 1/3 of them run away. Allah Azza wa Jal would never repent upon them. Allah deprives them from repentance because they are hypocrites. And the hypocrites are the first to flee and run away. And 1/3 would be martyred at the side of Allah. And the Prophet says they are the best of martyrs at the side of Allah. And the third, they are the one who would conquer Constantinople, and they will never be trialed tried, they will never face fitna. They will never face trial. They were so steadfast on Islam that nothing can harm them at all. This is a glimpse of what will happen in the future. So definitely, without any doubt, there will take place a big battle between the Muslims and the Christians. We will come to mention this later on, inshallah, before talking about the Dajjal. So until now, is it boring? Well, you guys, no need to sleep, bring you a pillow or something. Right. Now, when we talk about Christians, we tend to curse them a lot. Kuffar, may Allah curse them, may Allah destroy them, may Allah do this, do that to them. They might deserve this, but it is wrong to generalize. Oh Allah, destroy all the Christians. Akhi, my mother is a Christian. What are you talking about? So there are Christians who are close to us, who do not show enmity, who do not fight us to get us out of our homes. Allah tells us to be kind to them. But there are those who fight us, plot to destroy us, to divide us. Those we should take them as enemy. This beautiful hadith is not part of the signs of our, but it shows you, because it's in Sahih Muslim, which is the most authentic along with Bukhari. So Al-Mustawrid Al-Qurashi, may Allah be pleased with him, said in the presence of Amr ibn al-As, both are companions. He said, I heard the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the hour would not take place except when the Christians are the vast majority of the people, which means that they will remain a majority. Who's more, Christians or Muslims? Christians. Of course, one would say, yeah, but they're not real Christians. Do you mean to tell me that the 1.7 billion Muslims are real Muslims? They're not. They're worshipping shrines, they're going to pirs, to Maulana, to so and so. But the name, Muslims and Christians. So when he said this, Amr ibn al-As said, if the Prophet said that the day of judgment will not be called until the Christians are the vast majority of people, by Allah, they have 4 characteristics in them that are good. Meaning that they are not in the Muslims. What are they? This is an observation of one of the most intellectual, smart companions of all. Amr ibn al-As was known to be someone who plots, plans, and makes strategies better than anyone else among the companions. So he said, first of all, among the people of earth, they are the first to react and wake up after a calamity. Muslims are, when they're struck by a calamity, until they reconvene and reassemble and meet, it would be 6 months, 1 year, just to meet and to discuss. People are dying. So, okay, in November we will meet, inshallah. And after they meet in November, January, maybe we will take a decision. The Christians, they take action what? Immediately. A volcano, an earthquake, a calamity, immediately they immobilize, done. 2, they are among the best to control their emotions when a fitna takes place. So they're not impulsive. They don't take decisions and then think later. You know, they say, shoot, and then ask questions. No. They wait, and they plot, and they think, and then they take their time. Unlike the Muslims. The Muslims take an impulsive decision and then suffer the consequences for years to come. Thirdly, they, if defeated, they will counterattack. So their warfare is not lose and run away. No, it's going forward and going backwards in a battlefield. And this gives them room to maneuver. Fourthly, Amr ibn As says, and they are the best for a poor and an orphan. You go to the jungles of Africa, you will find a missionary staying there for 27 years on his bike, wearing his shorts and khaki or green suit. His wife is also there, documenting the language of a tribe of 500 people that no one knows their language. They give it alphabets and they document it. And what are they doing? 27 years, you leave all things of enjoyment. You say, yeah, we're feeding the hungry, we're curing their illnesses, we're teaching the children. They have a lot of charity. And Sheikh Abdurrahman al-Sumit, may Allah have mercy on his soul, one of the great pioneers of Kuwait, told us a lot of what he had seen over there. And Amr ibn al-As says, and a fifth characteristic that is beautiful, and that is in addition to the other four, is that they prevent their kings from transgression. The Christians would prevent their rulers from transgressing. They will take him to court. They will impeach him. They will drag him in an investigation if he lied under oath, or if he cheated, or if he did this and that. They have no problem with this. Now, the Prophet, as he gave us, alayhi salatu wasalam, the glad tidings of fighting the Indians, the Christians or the Romans in Constantinople, he also told us that we will fight the Mughals. Of course, this took place when? Centuries ago. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the last hour would not come unless you fight with people whose faces are like hammered shields. Their faces are like hammered shields. And the last hour would not come until you would fight against those wearing shoes of hair. What kind of shoes do the Mughals wear? From the skins of their animals. They have small eyes, broad snub noses, and their faces are like hammered shields. And we know what the Mughals did to the civilization of Arabia when they invaded Baghdad, when they invaded Egypt, when they invaded the whole area and destroyed the thousands and thousands of literature in the libraries of Baghdad, which contained so much knowledge. They threw it in the Euphrates until the water turned into black because of the ink that it was written in. A century or so before, Al-Ma'mun, one of the caliphs of the Abbasi era, used to give a translator's weight in gold if he translated a book into Arabic. So they used to go to the Greeks, take their philosophy, take anything that needed to translate, they translate it, they bring it to him, he makes them stand on the scale, and he puts gold in it and he gives it to them. It was a fruitful business, but it led to so much knowledge coming into Islam, good and bad, because it's philosophy, it's atheism, they're just anything. So we fought the Mughals, alhamdulillah. Where are the Mughals now? They're all Muslims. No, not China. It's Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. It's Central Asia, where they were all under the siege and power of Russia, old Soviet Union. And they're all Muslims, mashallah. We have from them Al-Bukhari and Muslim and all these great scholars of Islam. Okay, part of the signs of the Day of Judgment is the false prophets. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, the day of judgment or the hour would not come until impostor liars, approximately 30 of them, all claiming to be prophets of Allah. In another hadith, the Prophet said, in my ummah, there will be 27 impostor and liars claiming to be prophets. Among them will be 4 women. 4 women who will claim prophethood. And I am the seal of the prophethood, and there is no prophet after me. And this is an essential part of Islam, to believe that there is no prophet, no messenger after the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. At the time of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam, there was an impostor, someone claiming to be a prophet. Who was he? Musaylima al-Kadhab. Who killed him? Anyone? Wahshi. Good. Give the prize. No, there's no prizes. Who's Wahshi? Wahshi ibn Harb is the slave of Hind bint Utbah, who killed Hamza with his spear. And after a few years, he accepted Islam. He came and apologized to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet told him, I forgive you, but don't show me your face. I'm a human being. Don't show me your face if you can. So the man went until he heard of Musaylima and the war between the Muslims and the wars of apostasy. When the Prophet died, a lot of the Muslims apostatized and abandoned Islam. Among them is Banu Hanifa in the center of Arabia, in Najd. So they went to fight with them and to try to bring them back to Islam. Wahshi said, I killed the best of people on earth after the Prophet, which is Hamza. Today I'll kill the worst of people. So he went, and he, with the same spear, managed to kill Musaylimah al-Kadhab. Also there was Al-Aswad al-Insi, who appeared at the time of the companions. Sijah, also she was a woman who claimed prophethood, but then came back to Islam, alhamdulillah. At the time of the Tabi'een, there was Al-Mukhtar al-Thaqafi. And a century ago, approximately, came a man called Mirza Ali Muhammad Rida al-Shirazi. He was a Shia. He learned Sufism, Shi'ism, where else other than Iran? And he became popular among his followers, and he claimed to be a prophet after the Prophet ﷺ. And he invented this religion of Baha'ism. So his followers are known as the Baha'i. And he is called in their religion as the Bab, the door. And they're so few, they're so negligible, nobody pays any attention to them. Later on came Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. And he is the founder of the Qadianiyah, also known as Ahmadiyya. Now, this is a deviant cult. The vast majority of Muslim scholars worldwide consider him as a kafir, and those who follow him. They consider him to be a prophet. This is HD, and you will know what?
Instagram.
Okay. So they considered him to be a prophet, and this is why all the scholars of Islam considered them deviant and disbelievers. He said that there is no jihad anymore. Because who invented his cult, supported it? The British colonizers. And they said that the best way to counterattack the Muslims and make them accept what we're doing is by inventing this new religion and tell them that you have to have your allegiance to the crown of the queen. And this is why you find a lot of these Qadianis are doing the same thing. He changed Hajj and cancelled it and made his followers go to Qadian and perform Hajj there. He gives similar attributes to Allah of that to the humans, and he believes in reincarnation. He attributes a son to Allah Azza wa Jal, and he claims that he himself, this Mirza Ghulam, he claims that to be a son of Allah. Ta'ala Allahu amma yaqulun. He considers that there is no a seal for the prophethood. Anyone can become a prophet, and the biggest supporter of the Qadianis and the Ahmadis is Israel. They have centers and they finance them and they allow them to, or empower them to make a yearly publication and an annual and a monthly, etc. I've been once, I think, to London, and they have this big, huge center that looks so much like a masjid, not attended by a single person. It's just a monument there, because it is supported by all enemies of Islam. Okay, now we're in page what? MashaAllah, we've done well. We're in page 9. So we're progressing, alhamdulillah. Almost 40 pages left. Before we go on, do we have any questions? Just change of scenery so that we don't have a routine. Any questions, sisters? Brothers? Continue? Wallah, they don't even want to give me a 5-minute break. Yalla, manish. This is signs of the hour. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, in the hadith of Jibreel, when he asked about the hour, Jibreel said, when Jibreel asked about the hour, the Prophet said, Mal mas'ul bi'a'lam min as-sa'il. The one who's being asked is not more knowledgeable of it than the one who's asking. So he asked about the signs. He said, then tell me about its signs. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu, the slave girl will give birth to her mistress or master, and you will see the barefoot, naked, destitute herdsmen, the Bedouins, competing in constructing lofty buildings. Now this is so clear that it fits like a glove. What does it mean that a slave girl will give birth to its mistress or its master? One interpretation is that when the map of Islam is so widely spread, a man would have a lot of slave girls, concubines. And we know that in Islam, it is permissible to have intimacy for a man only with his wife or with his concubines, if you buy them. Now this causes or raises question marks. Sheikh, what do you mean by concubines? Slave girls. Slavery is against human rights of Geneva Convention number 12578. This is, I just made it up, but giving numbers, give you a lot of credibility. Who cares? Sue me. So what to do? Slavery is in Islam. Slavery was in all religions before Islam. It was practiced by the Romans, by the Persians, by the Christians, by the Jews. It's mentioned in their Bibles. So why look at Islam as inferior or something that of an innovation? But unlike all other religions, Islam has one source of slavery, and that is captives of war of non-Muslims. While in other religions, still today, you can have slaves by buying them. Lend someone money, he doesn't pay off, take his children. You go to Cambodia, to Vietnam, you buy for 300-400 a slave. The father is just he has to sell. And the outcome of slavery, there are so many branches. You swear by Allah and you break your oath, free a slave. You have intimacy in the daytime of Ramadan with your spouse, free a slave. You kill someone by mistake, free a slave. You make dhihar with your spouse, free a slave. And the list goes on and on and on. So Islam doesn't support slavery. It shows you how to get rid of slaves, but it solves an existing problem. Muslims have a war with non-Muslims. It's inevitable. We don't have Guantanamos. We don't have concentration camps. We can't have jails without ends. So this is a win-win situation. A slave is sold to a family, lives among them, sees Islam, without knowing it, he accepts Islam after a few weeks. Khalas. End of story. Now I've saved him from hellfire. After a few weeks, few months, I'm gonna free him because I've done a sin that needs expiation. Now, for a girl to be a concubine, this is also means of salvation. If she was pregnant and gave birth to a child, because she is the mother of a free child, she cannot be sold, she cannot be inherited. She stays as she is until her master dies or he frees her. But he cannot do anything else with that. So her child, what? Freed her for life. So it's a blessing to her or not? Definitely it's a blessing. So when the map of Islam spread wide, the Prophet is telling us that part of the signs of the hour, that a slave girl would give birth to her mistress or master, because now he is actually owning his own mother, because he's a free master of the palace and of the wealth. Other interpretations say that the man who owned this slave and got a child of her went against Islam and sold her, which is haram, and the money is haram, and the transaction is invalid. And later on, few years later, without knowing it, her son buys her. So he becomes what? The master of his own mother, and so on. The scary thing is, when the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, said, you will see the barefoot, naked, destitute herdsmen competing in constructing lofty buildings. As I was driving to the masjid, we came from an area, and all of a sudden in front of me I saw like 10 high-risers. Immediately I said, subhanallah. Okay, I have high-rises in Saudi. I've seen them in Dubai. I've seen them everywhere, but sometimes it just clicks. So high buildings, which the Prophet ﷺ described to us. Nowadays in the Arab world, what are they competing? In building the fastest fighter plane, or the biggest missile, or the nanotechnology in curing cancerous cells and stem cells. Are they doing this? No. They're competing in who has the highest riser. Is it Burj Khalifa? Or is it the Kingdom's Tower in Jeddah, which is to be built? It's about 3 meters higher. And they're building another one, I think, somewhere in Singapore that is 10 meters higher. They're competing in nonsense. Why? Because they don't have the essence of Islam. They have the name. Yes, we are proud of the label. But the essence of true Islam, we don't have this. Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, in the chapter of Munafiqun, the hypocrites, Allah says, and when you look at them, their bodies please you. And when they speak, you listen to their words. They are as blocks of wood propped up. They think that every cry is against them. They are the enemies, so beware of them. This is in the Quran. Allah is telling us about the hypocrites. Now, we may fall under this category when we try to boast about things that are worthless. What does it matter if we have the biggest bicycle in the world? I live near that bicycle, by the way. The biggest bicycle in the world is next to my home. Hajjis come to Jeddah and they come in the hundreds and thousands. Why? They're coming to Jeddah. What are they doing? And I asked, and they said, oh, this is the bicycle of Father Adam. He came looking for Hawa, for Eve. Do you believe this? We have a cemetery in Jeddah called the Cemetery of Eve, Ummuna Hawa graveyard. And they said that she was buried there. And they joke about people. What benefit did it bring the Muslims? When we have the biggest, largest water fountain in the world, who will it feed? Who will it benefit? The Muslims are diverted from their true problems. They are delusional about the proper meaning of success, prosperity. This is what Muslims should think about. One would say, okay, but we're rich. We can afford it. This is one of the signs of the Day of Judgment. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, count 6 before the Day of Judgment. One of them is that the wealth is so much that you give a man 100 dinar and he is not pleased with it. In another hadith, the Prophet said, give in charity, for there will come a time when a man walks around with his charity trying to give it to someone, and every time he gives it to someone, this person says, if you came yesterday, we would have accepted it, but now we have no need for it. There will come a time when prosperity is everywhere and people will not accept charity. 100 dinar, you give it to a man and he's not pleased. Do you find this today? So many people who come and ask you for money. The dinar here is not similar to your dinar. Huh? Don't be happy. The dinar at the time of the Prophet ﷺ is equivalent to 4.25 grams of gold. 4 grams of gold, and approximately $200, $150, 1 dinar. He's given 100 of them and he's not pleased. Nowadays, people come, Shaykh, Wallah, I'm in trouble, I'm in difficulty. Okay, here's 100 dinar. This is 1,200 riyals in my currency. That's a lot. He said, what is this? This doesn't do anything. Subhanallah. Nowadays, it tells you it doesn't do anything. A poor person, you give him 5 riyals, 10 riyals, 1 dinar. He said, Akhi, I cannot buy a pack of cigarettes with this. You know how much cigarettes cost? I don't smoke. This is nothing. So this is exactly what is happening, but there will come a time where it is prevalent. Everywhere, money is there, and this is not a good sign. Part of the signs of the Day of Judgment is the hadith where the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, said a number of things. Among them is giving salam to individuals. So you're in a gathering, a man walks in and says, Shaykh Ahmed, salamu alaikum, and does not give salam to everyone. Abdullah bin Mas'ud happened when he was there, and someone came and said, Assalamu alaikum Aba Abdul Rahman, and he neglected everyone else. I'm not talking about shaking hands. The proper way of saying is Assalamu alaikum. Then you go to Abu Abdurrahman or to Ahmad or to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and say, how are you, Shaykh? This is okay. But to specifically single out one person, this is among the signs of the Day of Judgment. Also, the spreading of commerce is one of the signs that the Prophet told us. There will come a time that everybody deals in trade. And nowadays, the vast majority of Muslims, if not dealing in drop shipping, which I get hundreds of questions about, they deal with e-commerce. So they buy from Amazon, from other websites, and they sell. Some of them even travel to Arabia to buy fake jewelry and go and sell it elsewhere, or like myself, come to Kuwait and I buy Kuwaiti dress. I do this, by the way, but not now. This visit is strictly business. But I do this. I come and buy dishtasha of women and I give it to my girls and they make good business of it. And this is also part of the signs of the Day of Judgment. When we say part of the signs of the Day of Judgment, doesn't mean that it's prohibited. Be careful. Don't think that this is a warning. Because at the end of the day, he said, okay, khalas, might as well sit back and die. Everything is, this is sign of the Day of Judgment, this and this and this. No. The Prophet told us that there will come a time where women help their spouses in trade. And the best of traders are women. Seriously, they can convince you. And they can convince their gender as well. They're good in marketing, they know what sells, and they have a good eye for making profit. Also, part of the signs of that we often see, the signs of approaching of the Day of Judgment, is severing of kinship that the Prophet mentioned, alayhi wasallam. And each one of you must have at least one of his kinship that he doesn't speak to. The reasons and justifications are endless. Why don't you talk to your cousin? Wallah, ya Shaykh, he did not invite me to his daughter's wedding and I got angry. And this is disrespectful. What about you? Your uncle? My uncle said bad things to my father. And they are not on good terms, so I severed my kinship with him and with his sons and with his whole entire family. But this is not your fight, this is your father's fight. He said, even though he didn't do anything bad to me, but I have to do this and that. Why are you severing your kinship? Wallahi, my uncle's wife did black magic. Did you see that? No, but I can feel it. Subhanallah. And it goes on and on and on, and we all claim that we are proper Muslims. The Prophet said, alayhi salam, he who severs his kinship will not enter paradise. Full stop. You will not enter paradise, akhi. But I pray, I fast, I give charity, I attend this halaqah of Sheikh Asim. Sorry, I can't help you. The Prophet said, you sever kinship, no candle. So you have to go into your contact list, check every one of your cousins, same gender, of course. Don't go and call your cousin sister. This is for you guys. Say, kinship. No, it's not kinship, it's haramship. Go and see who you've severed, give them a call, send them an SMS, send them a gift, do something to show how hard you're trying. Okay, one of the signs of the Day of Judgment is when the means of measurement are interrupted and not accurate. What do you mean? When scales become disrupted. What are the means of evaluating things nowadays? It should be Quran and Sunnah. What is halal, we will do it. What is haram, we will stay away from it. This is the norm. Nowadays, this norm has been reversed. How do I know that this is halal or haram? Quran and Sunnah? No. It depends on what the culture says. It depends on what the people of influence say. And this means that the whole concept of Islam, submission to Allah Azza wa Jal, surrendering your will to Allah Azza wa Jal, is gone. What does the Prophet say, alayhi salatu wasalam? In an authentic hadith, the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, there will come years of deception upon the people, where a liar is believed and a truthful person is accused of lying. When a person of betrayal will be trusted and a trustworthy person would be accused of betrayal. And when the Ruwaybidah would speak, so the companion said, what is the Ruwaybidah? This is a new word for us. So the Prophet said, it is a silly man, a man who has no value, speaking about the affairs of the Ummah. Nowadays, this fits as a glove. Every single word of it. So, years of deception. We are living in years of deception at the moment. When people of truth, when scholars, when honest people speak, the media says that they are liars, they are extremists, they are this, they are that. And they discredit people who are truthful. And when liars speak, the media highlights this and says that this is a fact that no one can challenge. And we know that this person who's speaking is the biggest liar on earth. When people who are known to be cheaters and who betray the ummahs and the individuals, they're given trust. And they're given even honest names such as Sharif or Ashraf, names of dignity, and they are the biggest cheaters. When the people that should be trustworthy, who are trusted, we know them to be students of knowledge, people of piety, of righteousness, never ever caught them red-handed lying or stealing or cheating, yet we refuse to make them assume positions in leadership of the community, of companies, etc., then we have a problem. And the Ruwaybidah, the silly man who has no value, speaking in the affairs of the Ummah. Is this happening now? Who represents the Ummah? Who represents the community? What is their education? What are the results that they can put forward? You ask me from my CV, I give you my CV. You might be impressed, you may not be, but it's a good CV. Those who speak about the Ummah, that we should do this, we must not do that, and they take decisive decisions that impact the whole community, the whole country. Are they worthwhile? Are they qualified? Then this is what's happening. Among the signs of the Day of Judgment, the Prophet told us, alayhi salatu wasalam, about tyranny, about oppression, about dhulm. He said that at the end of time, there will be men with whips like the tails of cows. They go in the anger of Allah and they come back in the anger of Allah. Who are these? These are the people of security. These are the soldiers. These are the people who control, as they say, riots. We see them all over the media. Men of the police, of the army, battering people. I've seen this in Kashmir, with sticks hitting people like, wallahi, worse than animals. What is this? This is what the Prophet ﷺ is warning us of coming. And this is not only in Kashmir, but is also in so many Muslim world. We see this in the media. The media doesn't cover anything. You see them slapping innocent people, hitting them, sticks with shoes, kicking them, brutally treating them in an inhumane way. And this is what the Prophet is telling us, alayhi salatu wasalam. Among the things that the Prophet warned us of would be the uplifting of knowledge, the consumption of intoxicants, the wide spreading of zina. As for the uplifting of knowledge, what is meant by this? Every day we find that the amount of Islamic knowledge among the Muslims is going down. And the Prophet told us, ﷺ, that Allah does not extract knowledge from the chests of men. Today I know, tomorrow it will go. Allah Azza wa Jal uplifts knowledge by the death of scholars. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, actually 35 years ago, Allah blessed me that every single day I used to call 3 scholars. They're all dead. Sheikh bin Baz, Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen, and Sheikh Abu Bakr al-Jazairi, who died a couple of weeks ago. And by the way, his tafsir, Aysar al-Tafasir, is one of the greatest and easiest contemporary tafsirs. I don't know if it's available in English or not, but it is so easy and so comprehensive and has good knowledge that if you know Arabic, I advise you to buy it. It's 4 volumes, big volumes, but very, very easy. It's much easier than going into Ibn Kathir. And it's also reliable. I used to call these 3 sheikhs on daily basis. I used to have a yellow pad, and I write questions throughout the day. Anything I read, I don't understand, I give them a call. Nowadays, who would you call? Ghostbusters? Doesn't work. This is a big problem. If you have an issue, you want to ask a scholar, who do you call? No one. I personally cannot get hold of any of the grand muftis in my country. The top scholars and the supreme scholars can't. They don't answer the phone. I can't travel to their cities. What about the masses of the ummah? 100 million, 150 million in the Arab world. Who will they call? They will call Tom, Dick, and Harry. Imam of the Masjid, someone like me who comes on TV. Oh, he's Sheikh. What do you know of his knowledge? You're asking about something that is decisive in your life. Oh, I divorced my wife, Sheikh. This is the 5th time. So can we go back or not? Oh, it's okay. Oh, Sheikh said, okay. You might be living in haram. Sheikh said, what do you know about the Sheikh? Day before yesterday, a brother was calling me from Egypt. He said, Sheikh, this question, that question, 5, 6 questions. And I said, okay. Sheikh, wallahi, you have done so much benefit to me. May Allah reward you. May Allah Azza wa Jal rectify your affairs. May Allah giving that. Sheikh, just can I ask you a question? What's your name? Wallahi. I said, are you serious? And you're asking me questions and you don't know who I am? I'm Ayatollah Khomeini. What do you expect who I am? How dare you ask someone in religion when you don't know their background, when you don't know their credibility? He said, oh Allah, I apologize, Shaykh, but someone I trust directed me to your number. I said, what if you have a problem with your spine and you have to go and operate a neurosurgeon, and I give you the name of my nearest mechanic? Would you call him? He said, no, Shaykh, I'll have to go and check. Same thing in religion. The problem is that nowadays the scholars are fewer and fewer and fewer. They're so rare. And this is how Allah uplifts the religion by the death of the scholars. I think we stop inshallah for salat, and we will continue after the Maghrib inshallah if you're still awake.